Hey, welcome back to Indie Author Jill, where we spotlight different indie authors and self-published authors to help get them more recognition and help people find their books. I'm Jill Miller, and today's spotlight is on a poetry collection called The Fragile Humans We Are by V. Walker. I enjoyed the poetry. I say that a lot anytime we do poetry collections, but I enjoy poetry, so but I think the poetry in this was really well written. The author uses a lot of different styles of poetry, so it's not just the ABAB or AABB or the fractured poetry or haikus. Like she has a lot of different styles throughout the book, and I really enjoyed that. What sets this apart from the other two that I've done, we did the Summer of Longing, was it back in April, I think? We did that, and that one, with that book, that poetry collection, it just stayed in the stage of life where there's a lot of heartbreak and you're, figuring out what love really is with the different people that you're encountering between high school and college. So you've got your first loves and you've got your the first betrayals, and where all of those emotions are really raw, and it just stays in that stage of life. And I thought for that book it was very well intentioned, because while you're going through it, there's a lot of heartbreak poems in there, and you're just kind of hoping for some relief, but that's what it's like going through those first few years of broken hearts and what have you, is you just want some relief, and it doesn't seem like it's ever coming. With the Misfits Masks, those poetry, that collection of poems kind of went through a lot of different aspects of the different places where you show different parts of yourself, whether it's to your family, to your friends, in these places, during these times of love, during these times of loss, during these times of grief. This one, The Fragile Humans We Are, again sets itself apart from those two by just having a single journey, and you get to see you kind of see the author V. Walker's journey from her youth to adulthood, where she's going through kind of a tumultuous upbringing, and getting into adulthood, and some of those past relationships kind of color what kind of relationships she has as an adult. And then as she gets through that into healing, and she breaks that cycle and finds what it means to really be loved and accepted by somebody. She also has poems about the people that, different people that she's encountered, the different found family and friends that she has. It kind of felt like a personal insight into the author's journey, but it also felt like, in some cases, a reflection of my own journey. A lot of the poems were very heartfelt and relatable, as far as the relationships, that both good and bad, that we go through, the toxic relationships, the mediocre relationships, the ones where we feel like we're giving more to the relationship than the person is giving back to us, and the ones that are full-on relationships where we're giving as much as we're getting from the other person. It does come with trigger warnings. She has a trigger warning where she warns the person that she does talk about abuse, but the abuse is not graphically described, and there's also grief and loss, times when she's the people that she loved are passing away. There's a lot of non-Christian words, as I like to say, which is just a nice way of saying there's quite a few cuss words in here, but I wouldn't necessarily use that as an excuse to veer away from it. I myself am a Christian. I go to church. I am the leader of the young kids activity groups in my church. And there are poems in here I would still go back to, whether they have the words or not, because the swear words, they are there, but I feel like they are very well used and very properly placed. I don't think the feel of the feeling that the author is going for in the particular poems where they have swear words, I don't think the feeling could be conveyed by what we would normally use as a substitute word. For instance, you can use crap or stuff in place of a more popular swear word, and that would get the understanding of what she's saying through, but it wouldn't really, I feel, grab the feeling of the poem. So I don't have a problem with the swear words in this one, and because I do think that I agree with Mama Cusses, one of the creators I follow, that there are not really any bad words. It's just there are words that are used badly, so I don't use swear words, especially in these videos, because I want to be respectful to my viewers. And there are some viewers that they don't want any swearing, and that's fine. I understand that. I think this would be a great gift for anyone who has either lost a parent or has recently gone through or is still healing from the survival of a toxic relationship. Definitely a book I would have loved having when I was going through my first divorce. It's a great reminder in some cases of what you've accepted isn't necessarily what you deserve, and you don't necessarily have to keep accepting the same things. So if you're in a relationship, people will get into a relationship with like a narcissist or someone who is very toxic, who's constantly talking down to them, and telling them what they think about them, and they're weaponizing their words against the other person rather than using those words to build them up and encourage them. What I love about the current relationship I'm in is that there is an open communication between my husband and I. And then there's a mutual respect, and we can talk about really anything. He can be honest with his feelings with me, and I can be honest about my feelings with him, and we can talk about different things. If I mess up dinner, a great example is I recently made linguine carbonara, and I made it the way my quote-unquote aunt, one of my found family members, taught me, and she is she immigrated to the United States from Italy. She taught me how to make this linguine carbonara the way Italians make it, and my husband did not like it, and he's sitting there telling me everything that I should have done to make it better. And I told him, I said, okay, that's fine. That is an Americanized linguine carbonara, not an Italian carbonara. So all the different things he wanted to put in it, the butter and the cheese and the butter and the cream isn't normally in a traditional Italian carbonara, but we were able to have that conversation without him belittling me. Like, he wasn't belittling me or anything. He was just like, well, I like carbonara, but I like it like this. And I said, okay, well, that's not a traditional carbonara, that's an Americanized carbonara. And he says, okay, I like Americanized carbonara then. And I said, okay. So, but he wouldn't have known that. He was willing to try it because he'd never had a proper Italian carbonara. And we were able to have that communication with one another, whereas my ex would have been more of along the line of, well, this is why you don't cook. I don't let you cook because you don't know how to cook. And being in this relationship, and I knew he was being, I don't know if it was being narcissistic, but like, he was definitely not saying it to help. And his goal, according to him, was, well, I'm just saying that so that it challenges you to be better. Well, no, if you insult my cooking and tell me I can't cook, then I'm going to stop cooking. You're the better cook, you cook. You know, because I'm petty like that. I will absolutely, oh, I'm not a good cook? Fine, you do it. I'm not going to cook at all. Because I'm not a good cook. You know, you tell me I'm not good at something, I'll prove you right. I'm not gonna, I don't take those as challenges. Whereas my current husband, he knows how to properly challenge me. We'll be out at a dinner and he'll be like, oh, this is really good. He says, bet you could do this better at home. And I was like, challenge accepted. And so I have experimented more with cooking with this husband than I have, and my cooking skills are better. They were good when I was with the ex-husband, and I know that because I cooked for other friends when he was out of town. I'd have my friends come over because I was bored at the house by myself. I was like, hey, come on over, I'll make you guys supper. And they loved my cooking. So I knew the problem was him, which made it easier to get out of that relationship. But not everybody has those, has that ability to get out of those relationships. And even when they do, even though I knew it was a toxic relationship, even though I knew it was bad for me and I needed to get out of the relationship, getting out of it was still difficult, because once we parted ways, I would still be in my apartment feeling like the loneliness and the despair and everything. And there's points where you get lonely and you're like, well, you know what, maybe it wasn't so bad. And I think a book like this would help remind people who got out of toxic relationships, like, no, this is what you got out of. This is what you're leaving behind. And what's great about this is it doesn't just stay in that field range. It goes on to what comes after, when you break that cycle, when you grow and you accept that you are worthy of a better love and a better acceptance and better relationships. This has that for you, so that when people are going through these toxic relationships and they're getting out of it and they're still healing from it, because the healing process takes a while. I probably went through the healing process for about 2.5 years before I was finally able to pick myself up and start moving on and saying, you know what, I deserve better than that, and I will never let him do that, treat me like that again. I've had other friends that it took them 4 years to finally put their lives back together and be like, okay, I'm done with whatever that past was. So yeah, I would definitely say this would be a good gift for the people who are going through grief, whether they lost a parent, a grandparent, somebody that has passed away, or whether they are getting out of and still healing from a toxic relationship, would be a good gift for them. I appreciate that the author was willing to be vulnerable enough with her own history and her own journey to share that with people, because I think it's important that other people know that they're not alone, because that's the worst part of getting out of these toxic relationships, is that you do feel so terribly alone from and cut off from the outside world, because your friends are going on with their lives and you're still feeling stuck. And it's very important to know that we're not alone and that we have other people that have gone through this, because seeing those people get through, seeing that they have made it through, you're like, okay, well, I'm not through it yet, but I have the potential to get through it, and I have the potential to get beyond it and to be better for it. So, yeah. Guys, if you like this content, if you enjoyed this video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. Yeah, hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. If I can get up to 1,000 subscribers, I can start monetizing, and then I can make my job just reading books, and I would love that. So definitely subscribe. Share this with others who might be looking for like poetry books or whatever. And make sure your notifications are on so that you can keep getting updated on these videos. Other than that, I will see you in the next one.